We should update the
All
personnel
we gotta do is just write
because
the
the
ordinance.
ordinance,
Ask
the,
Mr. Boggs write the ordinance to change it. Any way you want it done, you should have it done. And that's exactly why I told you we are violating, I said violating the law. We are being improper in some of the things that we are doing here.
Well,
so based on the fact that one man was getting paid $24.43 an hour when I took this job, and so, but now the man's getting paid $20 an hour. I'm still violating the law, or I'm still in violation of the ordinance here.
Well, I guess that's my problem, is we
But
should have
so
changed
change
this
it.
book before you did it, instead of shutting the barn
No,
after the cow
not
got
before
out.
I did it, honey. Not
It's
before
been-
I did it.
Yes, we didn't do it.
Well,
We didn't give him
No.
$20 an hour.
That's, I'm just carrying on, okay? You change it and we'll start looking for another water sewer supervisor, okay? We might change it and we'll probably be looking for another sergeant in the police department. So, but that's your call, I'm just telling you. And I'll make anything you change work.
we're talking about just follow the one we had.
Follow, hey, change it.
Well, then-
Do it, okay.
That's
one
all
we
we're
had.
talking about.
That's
And
it.
whenever something need to be changed, you
Come
say,
before us before you do it.
I mean, say, we need to look at this because we need this. That's the way it should be done.
Listen,
It's not about,
Here, I tell you everything I'm going to do. I bet you I put 20 letters in your boxes over there telling you what I was doing.
not when it comes to personnel changes you did.
I've got a list here, a mile long,
I'm talking about
Of every
personnel
document.
changes.
that we've received.
Which one is that? He gets paid $10 an hour.
What's that?
Is that the, which one is that?
Warehouse manager and equipment.
That's a new position?
We don't have
We
that
don't have
position
that
in our
position.
book.
Well, it's not a new position, let me put it that way. He's one of the maintenance people. He falls under the maintenance. The same people, we've got 10 people out there in maintenance. We only got 4 people up there working. 5 people maybe.
So he's a
But
laborer.
This man he's gonna inventory everything that this city owns.
I'm going to ask you one question, and I want a straight answer. Did you not, a month or 2 ago, tell us how dire our situation was? We're going to lose this, we're going to lose that, we need to lay some off. Now you're sitting there telling me you have hired 2 men. Where'd you get the money from all of a sudden?
We lost James Wilson, Jimmy Cornick, and Mike Duff. We lost 3 men, so I replaced them with 2.
Why did we lose them?
They left. They quit. I didn't fire them. They just left. I mean, that's life. Here we are. This is not the most favorable job in the world, working for the city. But you can't. You've got to pay people to keep them.
So what is your supervisor? If you're paying this guy to basically
listen.
do what your supervisor should be doing.
Yeah.
He-
Why do you need a
inventorying their own
supervisor
department. This-
if you're
this-
having somebody else over that supervisor?
This fella right here will earn. He will earn 5 times what he makes. He'll save the city that much money.
Why?
Because he's counting. Well, let's see. We are having materials stolen that we don't even know we own.
Okay?
That's
Because
what
we
your
don't have-
supervisors are for, Wayne.
Well,
You're supposed to be
And you
supervising
make
your
a good
section.
point. You really do. If we're having theft, you need a new supervisor.
Well,
That's right.
You don't need to
You don't
hire
need
another
a-
guy to supervise
You do
these
not
guys.
need a new
Supervisor,
position
supervisor.
established, and
If
that
you
is
got
a new
stuff missing in
position.
those departments,
well,
Wasn't he
it's-
hired in to replace one of the other workers?
Yeah,
And
he-
his job duties are gonna be
He's
to,
hired in the maintenance department. He won't just be doing the
That
inventory.
is-
warehouse
That
Go
what you
look at
gave
the
us,
warehouse.
executive privilege, which I
executive
think,
order.
executive
Warehouse
order
manager and
is a
equipment
warehouse
control
manager. We don't have that position.
No, well, we should have had it.
We don't have it.
And it's not making up a new duty. It's somebody should have been doing the job all along, okay?
It says supervisors and employees are requested to provide necessary assistance to Mr. Rudd. That tells me
That they're to help him. He's there
he's
to
not
help
even
them.
toward your department, surely God is.
Yeah, some of it.
He's over your police
No,
department.
wait a minute. He's not
You
over
should-
no department.
He shouldn't be in the police
No,
department.
No.
Why?
You don't understand.
Let's say evidence comes up missing, a gun comes up missing.
No, you're going. That's an evidence room. We got a custodian of the evidence room appointed. That's Silas Whitehead, and he's appointed by
So he-
But
What is
why
he gonna be
said-
doing
he
in your
said that
section?
this Ross guy had been up there looking at his stuff.
In the evidence room?
This, the
Oh, the evidence
furniture.
room, but he's been looking at my stuff.
Well, the evidence room is
Wayne,
one thing,
What
but
was he looking at? He was looking at city property. Was he
I
not
gave him
looking?
serial numbers of guns. I don't think he's.
Serial numbers.
Oh, my
Guys,
goodness.
Serial numbers of my
You gotta
guns.
be
I don't think so. That's,
I think the city should know what they own.
no, I think Wayne should know
Well,
what
I
they
think
own.
it is.
I think the city should
No,
know.
not the city, Wayne.
Wait just a minute.
The evidence I gave him was serial numbers that actually belonged to the city. That there were guns, shotguns, radios.
But he didn't see the guns. He didn't.
Oh,
touch
no,
the
no,
guns.
I just wrote the serial numbers.
Okay.
I actually gave them to you and then you gave them to him.
Did he get the typewriters, the computers, the desk, and things of that nature? You know, he's
He looked it all.
inventorying
He
all
looked it all.
city property, right?
Is those
City
things you could do?
I've already got a list, most of them. I mean,
You could inventory that for us?
He got the inventories.
He's
He
got
asked
the-
him to
he's got
give
the
him
list.
the inventory.
Yeah, I gave him the
He
list.
just wants to maintain records of it.
I
But
gave
if
him the
Why?
list for all
he's
that.
our supervisor,
I gave
He's
him
a
the
warehouse.
list.
we don't need this
everything-
guy to do that.
No, when you can't even change the oil in a vehicle because you can't maintain oil on the shelf, then you need to take some kind of action to keep that up there. This man will actually, he's gonna check the vehicles, he's gonna maintain the vehicles, he's gonna keep them running, he'll change the oil and do all of the minor maintenance work on those vehicles, which is not being done now. Did you not have a battery go out just the other day?
Yes, sir.
I'm not arguing that, Carl. What I'm arguing is that we have supervisors that are already supposed to be doing this.
That's what their job is, to run their department.
And I'm sure Wayne
Wait a
inventories his
minute now. To
department.
do what?
Inventory their own department, give you a materials list.
Wayne, did you inventory that equipment and give it to him?
Yes, sir, I did.
Well, he's doing it, see, but.
Why
Well, why is he
did
getting
He's gonna be the keeper of the
We want to
records.
know if some.
That's what the
when
clerk
some-
does.
The
is keep
city
the
clerk is
records.
keeper of the records.
Well, I mean,
Who?
The city
City
clerk,
clerk.
keeper of the records.
Each supervisor should inventory their own department, every piece of equipment, every tool, every supplies, and
Well,
give that to
well,
you. And if something comes up missing, then you know, hey, this supervisor's either
Okay.
lying to me.
Okay, we had a $400 sewer tape missing from the sewer plant. We had not too long ago, we had a concrete saw, $800 concrete saw stolen. We had.
Where'd it
these-
go? Did you find it?
I don't- No, we didn't find the concrete saw.
Was a report filed with the police department?
Yes,
know-
it was, yes, it was.
You know the
Yeah.
serial number to that saw. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, I helped get that saw. That saw is on record, the serial numbers, and you can get copies also from Southern Wholesale and City Hall. That saw will turn up,
All right, somewhere.
and it was $1,000 saw.
Well, okay, but what I'm getting at, we didn't even have a record of that saw. We didn't, no one is being accountable for equipment and tools and things.
But your
Like they were asking
supervisor-
about
But your
the-
supervisor,
They
like
asked me about
him,
those meters a minute ago.
listen,
Asked me about the water meters. I didn't know how many water meters we had.
well, what do you have a
And nobody else
supervisor
can tell me
for?
that.
What do you have a supervisor
understand.
for? Why do we need a supervisor?
This guy works for the supervisors. He's
No,
helping those.
no, I don't see it that way.
If Stanley needs a quart of oil or some hydraulic oil to put in the garbage packer, he can go over there to the warehouse and get it, because we'll have it on the shelf for him.
Do you
We'll
not
have-
trust Stanley to go get it?
Well, he'll
Stanley,
have it
can't-
right there at the
Have you
warehouse.
been getting it yourself before?
He's been going over to Cumberland Tire and having to buy it, or he'll have to go down to Harlan and buy it, but this guy will have it on the shelf at bulk prices, at cheap wholesale prices.
But he could put it on the shelf right there in the
What do you mean
department.
at cheap wholesale prices?
Well,
Explain that to me.
Okay, let's say we want to buy some paper towels, as a matter of fact. Why should we have to go up and buy one pack of paper towels when we could buy maybe 10 packs to keep it on the shelf for the people?
Go ahead and get 10 packs.
Well, where we would put them at?
Well, where are you gonna put them at now?
We go to see the warehouse.
Well, see, what you
need to
should
stop
do
in and
is
just
each
look at the
supervisor
warehouse.
should have a
He could
key
set
to
that
their
up.
own
Listen,
little
sir,
We're
warehouse.
dealing with 5 departments here.
That's right.
We're dealing with 5 different departments, okay? We need one central supply location to maintain the vehicles. Someone to keep a check on the vehicles and things of that nature.
Wayne, do you not keep a check on the vehicles?
Our police vehicles, we do. I mean, I don't know what they do in other departments, but we keep an eye on it.
That's what I'm saying, each department
Stanley, do
head
you
is
not
posted,
keep a
we already
record
passed this
of
vehicles?
years ago about a daily maintenance law.
How many you got in maintenance and all that? Do you keep a record like that?
I'm trying to if I can.
well, I know I was up at the water department and they didn't even know, the city didn't even know they had a brand new water detector.
Well, it's not only that.
I mean, and it
That's
was brand
supervisor.
new.
That's super, and don't take that the hard way. Now, I'm not saying that, when you have.
Are you talking about leak detector?
supervisors,
Yeah, that's what I'm
you have
talking
an
about.
Inventory list,
We just didn't know they had it.
and if something's missing, it needs to be reported right away. Just like this saw, the council should have knew about this saw when it went missing. This is the first I've heard of it.
Right.
And when a car gets damaged, if we have a car that gets in a wreck, whether it's maintenance, city, police, or whatever, we should have a report saying this was damaged, this was who driving it then. You've got to watch out for those things because
My point is, that's a job that's been created for somebody, and it's not in our
it's in
personnel.
their duties
It
as
has
a
not.
supervisor.
If three
It has
people
not been
left-
approved by the
Hey,
council.
the fella can do anything.
It doesn't matter, it's not
But
been
we
approved
need-
by the
We need
council.
more people like that. Because we
That
can't
position's
afford to
not
hire
been approved.
10.
Maybe you
If
should,
there's three
if you've got
people-
a supervisor that's not doing their job, maybe you should had looked at seeing if this guy was more qualified. If you might have to replace one if you don't trust him if something's being stolen. It's to hire someone to help another supervisor. You just keep adding to the. That's like, let's say he starts doing something wrong, and you hire one to help him, one to help him.
Listen,
Going back to the vehicles, we do a weekly maintenance and we do a monthly.
do I?
If you find a dent or a ding, do you report it?
We report it, something bad happened.
That way we have a log of who was driving it. If, you know as well as I
We know
do,
who's driving ours, because we
certain
assign it.
times you have certain people who would damage stuff more than others.
Well-
You gotta put a stop to it.
I'm gonna leave that fella there in that position because we need him too bad. I'm gonna let him stay there.
That
and
is a
work it out.
position
He's on a
that-
probationary period right now for 6 months, and I'm gonna measure what he does and
That
evaluate it.
position is not in our book, we did not approve of a new position.
Well, what about the other positions then?
What other position?
Well, you got overpaid people and stuff like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We didn't
But
hire them.
But
We didn't do
we didn't
it.
hire
We're
him.
telling you, you should
And we
stay
didn't
with
create
it.
this position that you gave this guy. It's not in this book, and when,
He's just filling a position as a warehouse specialist, equipment control.
and that's not in the book.
No, but,
We cannot create, you
Whenever you see
cannot create
whenever I
positions.
see something that's not working, I'll change it.
But you cannot create
But you just said
positions,
you
that is
had
the
stuff getting
council's job.
stolen. Do you not trust the supervisors that you've got?
Well, the supervisors can't keep control of everything, every tool, every wrench, every drop, every.
You put it in a cage. Do you keep track of your stuff?
Yes, sir.
Or can I just walk up there and go walk in and get me a gun?
Nobody could do that, I don't think.
How about
This guy
taser?
won't
Could
do
I come up there and get a taser if I want it? Well,
Well, we had a taser missing right now, don't we, Stan? Did we get the taser back?
I got the taser back.
What is it missing now, the radio?
Got a radio missing.
See?
well, that's, radio's simple to find. All you have to do is get the short
If it's
tracker down
pinging,
for you.
Why don't
Because
you-
That's a
they'll-
digital
they'll ping
radio.
it.
If it's pinging, you should be able to find it.
Yeah.
The handheld belongs to the county, the cars in the radio belongs to the county, so. it's
The county can just check it out. All you
So
gotta
have
do is
you all
tell them
made a
they find it
report?
for you.
We've had
To the
items
county to
stolen.
help you get it back? Because if that radio's pinging, they should be able to find it.
Nobody's turned it on.
Well, let's get back to the.
I mean,
budget.
Yeah,
got
to
in
the-
process, nobody,
Have we arrested anybody for it?
not yet.
The investigation is going on.
You want to get back to the budget?
Well, it's first reading anyway. We're not voting on anything tonight. Just go ahead and read it, I guess. And we'll change it next time, because it's just
Okay.
first reading anyway.
You've got the budget, you've got the entire thing. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll read the summarized version, okay?
You don't have to read it unless there is unless there's a request from a council member to read the.
You've got it,
It's
yeah.
It's the first, we have the budget, unless there's a request to read it. Everybody has it, I don't know why they would request it.
I have it.
Unless there's a request to read it, it's just the first reading. It's
I have a
on
copy
top.
of it too.
So this will be considered to be a first reading?
Right, you don't have to read it.
Okay.
In fact,
We've all got a
in-
copy of it,
in
is
any
what
ordinance,
he's
you don't
saying.
have to really,
Okay.
you don't really have to
Okay.
read
Yeah,
it
yeah.
unless it's a request, unless someone requests it.
Okay, on these 4 sheets, there was a few wordings that had to be changed, not no number figures.
Surely we didn't have typos.
No,
I know we did.
at first, tell you what it is.
There was one thing on here though that I noticed that it wasn't. Police department in the LGA fund, wages,
Thank you.
didn't like that at all, if I can find it.
Well, I know we had $282,000 budgeted for the police department, and you had another $25,000 stuck in the LGEA fund.
And that shouldn't be in there, in the LGA fund.
Maintenance is in there.
I know, but that comes to $307,000. I mean, you didn't know that, did you?
Okay, on
That's,
this,
if we're gonna budget the police department for that amount of money, we should budget it instead of setting
on
it
this
aside.
page right here, the summary, where we've got police department, it had police department wages. If you go over that 282,000, that is actually what we're budgeted for everything, including their wages, which you can go back on. And I just took the word wages off of there. Where it picked up the wages is from LGA where it said 25,000
Where's that at, Robert?
on this sheet. That's why,
That's what you were talking about.
so you might want to
Yeah.
pull this one.
282,000 plus 25,000 from the LGEA.
Yeah.
Well,
Why,
that shouldn't-
why would they need the
It shouldn't
additional
need to be from the
25,000?
LGA, it shouldn't be in there.
Well, that's an option now. You can, that money is,
Have you seen it?
The only thing on LGA that's sort of strict how you spend, you can't just spend it like on paying light bills.
There's your
It
No.
has to
budget.
be like wages.
That money could be used
Like
on
a-
Stuck in a
paper.
different fund.
it's right. It can be used anywhere we need it.
Because we
But
got
not,
10,
yeah, not
so
there.
that's the $10,000 payment on the fire truck, that's what I was gonna
Right.
say. You can use it on a vehicle, but you can't use it for everyday expense, like gas or
Yeah.
lights.
So that 25,000 will probably help pay the rest of their police cars off.
Yeah.
Our police cars are supposed to be
Yeah,
paid
police
So
for.
they'll be paid off in
How long?
We got 3
Five.
months.
How much?
3 months.
Say 3 months, that
They'll be
don't,
paid off.
wouldn't be representative of $25,000
About 5.
stuck in the LGA
No,
fund.
but we can use that for anything.
Well,
It can go
Y'all can
anywhere.
It don't, yeah, but it don't need to be say police department, cause it's,
You've already budgeted them
yeah.
Well,
$282,000.
Like I said, we can use
Almost
that for,
almost 283.
Packer.
And then the fire department went up to $49,000 from $26,000.
And then on,
Well, the fire department, see, that was another thing there. Let's see, we were budgeting $15,000 for salaries, but their salaries are about $35,000
I get that, but we only paid out $26,000 last year
for the fire department.
for the fire department. Now you're wanting to raise it to $49,000. What are we raising it for, is what I'm getting at. That's a big increase.
Mhm.
Let's see what Wayne, I see, Fess, his salary's about 12,000.
No, that's not what we
No,
paid out
what
last
is-
year.
it's on here, it's on the back page.
You can go back and look at it, it's what I'm telling you, what's written down.
It's,
Fayetteville's salary is $4,939.
But you gotta add them all together though.
I know, but it only came to 26,
Yeah, right there.
Total.
12 men.
total that you spent last year according to your,
But now that includes the drill people too.
it still don't come to 49,000. It come to $22,000 we
Yeah.
spent total. Gas, everything, the whole 9 yards.
You guys gotta change this the way you want it, okay? I mean, that's all I can tell you. Change it the way you want it.
What I'm asking is, why do we need it that high? Is there something that happened we don't know about, that we need to raise it that high?
We've got the wages figured here for you. Actual wages, based on the number of people working. And the fire, we did reduce their, they were having drills about 2 or 3
Yeah.
times a month, but we reduced it
Once
to
a
1
week
month.
it was.
They were having them once a week, and we reduced it to once a month because of the finances and things.
But like right here on the police department, last year we spent $264,000. And it's going up to $282,000, which but then you stick 25,000 more on top of it, I wanted us to know what
Well,
it's for.
I'll tell you something else. Our income increased because we started collecting more monies from from delinquent property taxes, and delinquent water accounts,
And bank franchise.
and bank franchise. We had $18,000 increase, but that money has gotta be appropriated for some purpose.
That money needs to be appropriated for the water plant.
Change it. Well, you can't take the general fund money and put it in the water plant.
Instead of, there.
But change it any way you want to. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you about it. Just change it the way you want it.
See, here's the fire department for
Why
last
do you
year.
always say not gonna argue, Mayor? We're just,
I don't wanna
We're
argue.
just
we're not
debating.
arguing, we're just pointing out something. We wanna
We have to
know.
clarify,
There's a
it's not
difference.
arguing.
Change it. I mean, you've gotta understand what your position is and what my position is.
That's
I
why I'm
can make a
asking, why do we
proposal.
need the extra money?
If you don't think you need it, change it. I mean,
Well, you
know,
didn't explain it.
Here's
That's
my-
what we want an
Here's a
explanation.
question which might clarify what Charles is asking. Is it, last year we budgeted $15,000 for drill, and it says they didn't use any of that money in 2012.
That can't be.
No,
right.
that
They use
2012
money.
thing, that's
Oh,
the
that's
one we,
wrong.
that-
That's
we
wrong.
left that whole blank.
So this
That-
figure down here is not even high?
Just disregard
No.
that figure there altogether. Because at that time of the year, we hadn't spent any money on this budget.
Well-
See, this is a new budget.
Even going by what it was started to budget, the projected budget for the police department, say $36,000. If you go over and say we did miss something on that item, it's still going up to $49,000. That's why I asked, did something happen in the department that you're aware of that we're not, that they needed?
It's an $11,000 increase in the insurance and the bond. Is that because we had to go with a different company?
That liability insurance did shoot
Our
up.
liability insurance, this time I went through the liability insurance, took me about a day to do it. Went through the workers' comp, went through the whole packet, which is about 50 pages, and determined which went to each department. And that is the correct figure of what we have to pay in a year's time. If
So
you go through all the
it's
departments.
skyrocketing too.
Yes, it has.
So that's,
Because we're high risk.
So if you
Yep.
do your workers' comp and your liability insurance, you can add them all up and it'll be right at $130,000.
so that's where 11,000 change.
So now that's something that y'all cannot lower.
Oh, I don't look at
Yeah.
lower now. I knew that was gonna be coming.
Yep.
And on this page right here, it had police department wages, and I took the wages off there. Because it was kicking that out from the 25,000 over here on these two sheets. Then on this sheet, it had Stanley's allegation, if you look out there, it was wrong and I've corrected it. It should be that same figure all the way across. If you look at your old one, it's a different one now on the end.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
And then on the clerks here in the office, theirs was the same thing. This bottom one should have been like these, and I've corrected that, put them on the end.
So they were just typos.
Yeah.
Robin, I noticed too on the water and sewer department that Gary Duncan at one place shows 1256 wage and 1257 on the other.
Okay, I'll
Did you
fix
notice
that
that?
one.
Yeah. I noticed that when I was looking through it.
Some fingers hitting buttons real quick, ain't
Yep.
I feel you.
right? Type, type, type. But on
Thing
some-
like that, if you all can call me that you catch, I can fix it and have it printed out.
Well, like, we got utilities for fire department, $6,000, and you're gonna estimate it's gonna go down to 3,000 for the next year?
Well, at the fire department, that was one place we were having a $12,000 electric bill a month up there in Cumberland,
Yeah.
and it was, now it's down to $55, $60 a month, but it was $12,30.
So they had something wrong somewhere?
I
They're
don't
just
know.
running the heater up there around the clock
Yeah.
on the sky high.
Where was that?
Fire department.
Cumberland Avenue.
Well, I know in the wintertime,
That was
sometimes they
back
do
there,
have to,
wasn't
on
I guess
cold
it'll
days,
freeze up, yeah.
they have to run it because of the water freezing in the truck.
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
Cold days last winter. I mean,
I'm just saying that would be the only reason you
That
would
was
run
why.
that.
Because we talked about that, wasn't there something we could do to cut that thing off?
But I tell you though, the KU bills has went down tremendously at the sewer plant and the water plant. They used to run about 4,500 apiece. Sewers was less than 1,000 this time.
Then another, right here on the maintenance department, workers' compensation, it shows we didn't budget anything last year, but now we're having to budget $17,000.
I went through there though, and everybody's actually, I think last year we lumped summed about everything under administration. So I went
Okay.
through this time and got it per
Separated.
department. Yeah. Just because it costs so much, we want to make sure we didn't miss it, putting it in the budget.
Yeah, it's like utility street lights. This is something, I looked, to go up even higher. It probably will exceed $43,000 because of the coal industry and the way things are going. The gas goes up, usually electric goes up. Garbage disposal, we spent $80,000. That's a decrease of 20. That was a good point about the garbage. This is $80,000. That's total for just garbage disposal. That ain't counting the workers, the
No, that's
insurance,
just
the
your
truck.
tipping fees, that's all that is.
Well, we'll consider that the first reading then and move on.
So this is our correction pages.
Call us, let us know what changes you want to make on it, okay?
Before the next meeting, so we can have a second reading.
And I was wanting to tell you about, in the mayor's comments, we'll go to that right now. I was wanting to tell you about Frank Ross. We established that position to get an accounting of what the city actually owns. But I need to know what we own and what we need. And we need the vehicles are a primary source, it's a real primary concern because they're so valuable to our everyday operations. Now, they have not been checked and monitored the way they should have been over the past, except for the police department. I think Dale has been taking care of the police vehicles. Is that correct?
I've got a majority of the service records on every police vehicle when they turn them in.
He's been doing that because we appointed him as the custodian of the police. And that's why he's a sergeant, to be honest with you. And Silas...
Dale was hired here before Silas.
Well, okay, but Silas is a sergeant too because he's a custodian of the evidence room now.
I just disagree with, we don't have a position for
But I'm
Dale.
just
We
telling
don't
you
need
why I did it, okay? They deserve, because of the extra responsibility, and they deserve the title to go with the job that they're doing. And they also are the training instructors for these new recruits that we've got. They are the ones that provide the proper guidance for them. And like, you've got 4 certified police officers, and we will have 3 trainees. Now, each shift has to have a capable person to provide the training for them. But then back to Frank Ross.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to get a system where we know what we need and what we have got. And like I said, stuff was being stolen that we didn't even know we owned. And when we did find things missing, we only found out about it because we saw a door knocked down or a gate broke. But this way we'd have a place where any supervisor can go to get any kind of equipment or tool that he needs to do the job with, or the materials that he needs. Now, and you know yourself that we can bulk purchase things when we have the money to do it and maintain that on a shelf, like these pipe repair fixtures and things of that nature. The freight, just the freight shipping it in here one at a time, it would break us up. But we could save money by having that stuff on hand when we needed it in emergency situations. If we have a water line break, that Blair water line break, we had to wait 3 days until we could get the proper fitting to break it, to fit that water line. But it's things like that. We could have 1 or 2 of those fittings on hand if we just knew where they were at. But some of you have been in the water plant in the basement. You've seen how cluttered and junked up it is. We don't even know what we've got up there. You're talking about water meters. We were completely out of water meters. Didn't even know it until one person down here on Field Street needed a water meter, so we had to go cannibalize a bunch of old water meters.
I understand what you're saying, Carl, but
This guy,
each supervisor should already have you an inventory. If you need extra stock, it should be set there.
well, he
ready.
didn't have one, but we asked him to make it. They just made it, okay? The
They should have
supervisor
been
didn't.
asked before. You shouldn't hire a man to watch over the
If
supervisors.
the supervisor
He's not
can't do
watching
the
over
job,
the
you
supervisor.
replace the supervisor.
He's maintaining, see, you're misinterpreting what the guy does. He's to store the equipment, make sure it works properly, like they fix the weed eaters and things, you know, to keep that stuff
The
running.
job has been created that council had not established. That's what I.
Regardless of
Well,
the
who
job
would
being
fix all that
created.
stuff if we didn't have him doing it? Who would repair those weed eaters and things?
That's not the point, is your
No, he's-
supervisors are supposed to keep an inventory,
Mm-hmm.
keep stock on hand. That's like, if Wayne come up to me and said, hey, I would've shot the guy the other day and defended
But I didn't
myself,
have
but
any
I was out of
bullets.
bullets. It's no excuse.
Yeah,
If your
okay.
supervisors aren't doing it, then you've got to replace the supervisor. That's all I'm saying. Or at least discipline and tell him, hey, you need to start doing this, keep your inventory, I want this place cleaned up.
He's on a probationary period for 6 months. I'm gonna see how it works out, then I'm gonna recommend that you adopt a position for that purpose, okay?
I can't do it with the
I-
water plant in the shape it's in right
Yeah,
now. I just can't.
I can't either.
That's why the water plant got in the shape it's in right now.
You have
No,
a
it's not.
supervisor there. Matter of fact, you got a couple.
As supervisors, he's concerned about keeping the water flowing and the things on. He don't have time to even call for the parts. If he could go up to the warehouse and check out the parts right there, it's on hand for him, or get the proper tool, or make sure the truck he's driving is running.
But he's got employees under him.
Yeah,
He
the
should be
supervisor's supposed to
directed.
appoint
his,
those
his
jobs.
employees are just as busy with him fixing those water leaks as he
Well,
is. see.
I
Now, if
I
they-
disagree on
they-
making a man a job to be able to do something like that. I really do. Just don't.
No employee is not doing his job. I mean, you know, they're all working. But
Well, you said you had stuff stolen. Somebody stole it. Are you
Mm-hmm.
saying an employee stole it because they have
I don't know.
access to it?
ask Wayne who stole it. I don't know. I know the
Hey, it's
stuff's
point
missing.
blank. If somebody's doing something wrong, I don't care if it's in the public, I'm not hiding nothing from nobody. If somebody stole something from us, I want to see a report on it and I want it back. Or I want them in jail. Let me tell you something. That saw, at the time we had to get that saw, we didn't have one. Me and Jerry Gillum both went to a lot of effort to
Which one are
find
you
the
talking about, the second one
concrete
or the
saw.
first one?
The first
time
one
you-
got stolen, I don't know who stole it.
Same
But the
boy.
second one, I made sure we went and got it, made sure the numbers were documented. That should have been on an inventory sheet because it was done right through the council. We got a big discount on that saw. That saw was about $1,600. And when they gave us a discount down here at Crush Horn Equipment, and for
That was
that
the
to wind
first
up
saw.
missing,
That was
that's a
the first
slap
saw.
in the face.
That was the
No, it was
first
the
saw.
second one, because the first one, somebody stole it too. When I first took office, the first term.
Well,
We got stuff missing, and employees stealing. I don't know, are you doing drug testing and background screening?
not
And
yet. We have to get that started.
I'd line up a drug test tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anybody that fails it, anybody that fails a background check, give them their pay slip, hit the road. Because
I wouldn't hire any employee without a background check. I'm sorry.
We can get background checks on them.
well, I'm not saying you didn't or did. I'm putting the point out there that if you've got so many out of hand that you can't control them, and you think they're doing something sneaky, check into their past, check in to see if they're on drugs.
You don't have to tell me
Do
about
that.
that, okay? You gotta understand what the circumstances would be if I did that and fired all them people. Who would I
They're-
get to replace, you know?
Well, if you've got
I don't
somebody
know.
like
I
that,
don't
they don't
know.
need to be working here.
Yeah.
If somebody's on drugs
There-
driving one of our vehicles,
There's more.
I don't care what the
I
consequences
don't know
are.
of anybody. I don't know of anybody that's on drugs driving.
I'm
a
not
vehicle.
saying they are. I'm
Well,
saying, you said
If
what's
I
the
get-
consequences if I
Yeah.
fire somebody on
Well,
drugs? If
you-
they're working in your city, you don't need them.
Well, you
Well,
can't
don't you
accuse
think
somebody of something without evidence
Well,
either.
don't you think
That's the
why they're
purpose of a
drug
drug
tests?
test. You should know
Well,
that.
Hey, Wayne, Charles, who would be the person to tell me if they are on drugs? Or who?
The drug test tells you.
No, I mean, but who would, what, you're talking about the supervisors? right? Wouldn't they be the one to tell me that man
No,
is
no,
acting?
you're
No,
the supervisor over all the employees.
I
If you
can't go out there
mandatory,
every day and check every man. You know,
I
that's
didn't
why
say
we got
every day.
supervisors.
We're talking, we have a policy on random drug.
Random
tests.
drug testing.
If Stanley come up to me and said, this man is on drugs, I'd have him tested. If Wayne would come up and tell me that this man's on drugs, I'd have him tested. But how would I know if he's on drugs if they don't tell me? You know, you're talking about the supervisor.
Well,
I
not doing their
understand
job.
that, but
We-
as a supervisor of the city, we have a mandatory drug testing policy.
Let's
And the
stay on
company
business.
picks who,
High school sports, athletes.
Everybody,
They-
this is
everyone-
not something
Yeah,
uncommon.
Yeah, they just go through it randomly.
And it's not nothing accusing of any of our employees, that's not saying any of them are. We're talking about, when you say theft, I just think somebody's got a drug problem if they're stealing something from us.
I don't have daily contact with every employee, but I do have daily contact with the supervisors. If they want to tell me what their problems are, I listen and I'll take corrective action. I don't think Wayne has ever asked me for anything that I haven't told him to get a purchase order and buy. I don't think Stanley's ever asked me for anything or for any problems like that. You gotta have working relations, and you just
Sure.
can't treat people inhuman. You gotta treat them like a human being
Drug
first,
test is not
and
inhuman,
that's
I'm
my
sorry,
attitude.
they do that at,
Well,
Like I say, my daughter's been drug tested.
I will not. I'll treat a
about 3 or 4
person.
times at the high school.
Bus driver.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
You have to be tested at a school system. It's just, it's
It's
nothing
just-
against anybody.
I
This is
have,
part of life.
I don't have any problems with random drug testing as long as it's done confidentially,
Well,
as long as the city has the money to do it, and that it's truly
matter.
random.
It is mandatory.
We have
Wow.
designated drivers too. Not
Needs
just
to be.
any-
Yeah, we already have it in our personnel manual. It's one of those things you just do. It's not a personal vendetta against somebody.
I know you can do it. Something you need to put in the budget.
Okay?
Well, we still have those vehicles. We got bids for those 2 trucks, for that one red truck. The Dodge truck is still down at Danny Widener's. That's the one with the utility bed, and this was declared surplus, that we could take the bed off that and put it in. But the other truck that was gonna put the bed on, it's now declared surplus, the red one. So we need to, and Danny Widener sitting, and our Kodak, see, that big dump truck we got, the bed on it is rusted out. You can't call anything loose in that bed. And Danny Widener said he would probably take those 2 junk trucks that we've got and rebuild that truck bed on that Kodak with steel. And that's an option that we can take, or we can just go ahead and bid the red truck off and pay him. He said it cost about $1,500 to fix that Kodak truck bed.
You talking about fixing our dump trucks?
The dump truck,
Now,
the
does
Kodak.
our dump truck run?
It's running good. It needs a clutch, right? Everything we got's broke just about.
But you're saying Danny will fix the truck for us giving him,
Not the clutch.
No, I mean, no, not the
He'll
clutch.
rebuild the bed. He
rebuild the
said
bed if we give him the
Those 2
Dodge?
vehicles, the Dodge utility truck and that red Chevrolet up there.
Can we do that?
If you say so, I can.
You'd have to declare the one that, you declared one of them surplus. You have to declare it surplus, and you declare it surplus, and then if you want to do that, but you have to declare it that you know.
Well, both of them are declared
Yeah,
surplus
both of them
already.
have been
You know,
declared.
then you can do that. You don't have, it's because you declare something surplus, you can declare it surplus and take it out there and throw it away.
Well, the reason I say that,
You don't have to bid it out.
don't we have to
Declare
reject
surplus.
the bids
You just
first?
have, that's part of this, you know, having a good inventory. You declare it surplus.
I think
You
that's
knock
a-
it off, and then if you either give it away, or you, whatever, or you just,
We need to get that dump truck fixed on.
Yeah, because the state will not, like we need salt, and they got it down there in the county, they won't even look at it.
well, that's what I was gonna say. We have a salt spreader for that truck, right?
Not the Kodiak now.
It's got a blade to push it, right?
It's got a blade, but the front end, the motors and everything is gone out, the hydraulics is gone out the front end.
But now, again, Frank Ross has looked at it, he can repair that right there on the lot. He said he could repair the jacks and everything on that. Yeah.
Well, I know we need the dump truck. I've argued that. I didn't see we always need a dump truck to push snow, spread salt. I know we got the little spreader to put in the back of a pickup truck, right? Or do we still have that?
It's up there.
Make sure that didn't go missing.
Well, they got it worked today.
Can you get through the street to spread the salt?
But we need to fix the dump truck. I don't have a problem with doing that with the trucks to get the dump truck fixed. And I know what you mean, the bed alone, not the clutch. I've not seen the bed though, but I know the truck sit there.
A motion to approve that, or you just, that's a report?
So I'll just,
Do you have bids on those trucks?
yeah, but I don't wanna open it if you wanted to change it, because
Well, if you took bids, you can't, don't you have to take them once you already took the bids?
no, it's an option to reject.
Did you advertise for them? Yes, you have to open
Yeah.
this reject.
Make a motion to.
Let's open them and we can always reject them if we don't like them. You never know, maybe somebody offers us a big lot of money.
If you advertise the bids, you gotta open,
Yeah, we did advertise them.
then you have to open.
Just,
Charles, lucky day.
don't hold it just a second, one at a time, okay?
I was about to open mine.
Just start right here.
That's not happening.
Okay.
Nobody in here.
Shucks, Rob.
So you're not right.
You open them one at a time?
One at
Yeah.
a time, yeah. And that's on the 2003 red 3/4 ton Chevrolet truck.
$100, Frank King.
Reject.
$600 minimum bid, that's,
So reject.
That looks like a big packet of money right there.
Yeah, I believe they already painted this envelope with money, didn't they?
3/4 4-wheel drive.
That's what I'm saying, is there any powder in them, or?
They don't say what they're for on them.
To whom it may concern, I would like to bid $770.07 on the Chevrolet red truck.
I like that.
Mark,
That
do
that is a good bid.
That's a good bid.
Give me them sevens again.
$770
Wait,
and
let her get
7
this,
cents.
let her get this one down. Mark your deck, okay?
Mark your day. Are we rejecting this one, or?
Let's wait.
No, we can
Just
wait
hold
on
that
that.
one open,
Okay,
yeah.
we're gonna hold off on that one, okay.
We reject.
I should know powder.
I don't know what I did with my pen.
That's for big enough you can read it.
There you go.
Timothy Hughes,
I found
$326.
Reject.
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 That's a small, odd number. 326.
Well, like I said,
What was it?
326, Timothy Hughes.
This one is from Johnny Johnson.
I'll stick that back in its original envelope.
And has phone number, $301.
Reject.
How much is this one?
100.
No, that was the,
This is the 700.
no, I've still got that one.
This 326.
That was 326.
326 was the one I had from Timothy Hughes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leslie, you're the lucky one.
I can't believe it.
Did you get this one?
Was yours 301?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much were those?
How much was this one?
301.
301.
I put that on this.
Yeah. That actually not a bad price on the red truck. I mean, it might give me the money to,
It's, yeah, it'd be, he said he'd do it.
if we take the money,
$1,500.
how much?
$1,500.
He might still take the other truck and some cash. It's a good price, really.
That's a 4-wheel drive. It's got, what's wrong with it?
$770. I wasn't expecting that.
What's wrong with that red Chevrolet? That four-wheel?
When they put a transmission in it,
Oh,
the guy that put the transmission in it probably switched the transfer case on it, and you can't hook up the transfer.
So it's only two-wheel drive.
Two-wheel drive.
But it can be converted back, because it's still got
You
the
had the
four-wheel
right
drive.
transfer case, you could put
Yeah.
it.
Make sure that's cash payment, that's not
Well,
just,
we'd call him. get the
payments and all that
tax away
stuff.
from the truck.
Huh?
We hit, like, we got ripped off a couple of times.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah, that has to be cash money. If he
Yeah,
don't
cash
have
payment.
it, if he don't have it, we probably should just, avoid it and let you go ahead and do the trade.
Yeah, will you want to accept that bid then and then offer him cash for the truck, the other
Don't
truck?
you think that's pretty good?
He'd probably take $500 in that other truck.
He probably would.
Yeah.
I think that's a good deal, Carl. I make a motion, we accept that bid.
Okay.
I say
We'll
that.
get the cash from him, then I'll make the offer to Danny.
Yeah, you and him, that'll get the truck fixed and on the road.
That was $770.07.
We'll
I
call him
like that
tomorrow.
figure.
I think that's the highest we've got out of a piece of surplus.
Yeah, that's a nice figure.
I can't think of any, I've not heard anything
Most
higher.
of the police
Usually it's
cars sold
100,
for-
I like that
200.
7 cents on the back.
I do too.
It must be his lucky number.
It must be 777.
That's somebody's lucky number.
Let's go put that on the lawn.
Well, you know, 777 came, they were first to the Lord.
Somebody said you had to play to win.
Yeah, it's me
I
too. I
understand
don't
that.
either. I don't play, so I ain't gonna win.
Let's get this show on the road. Let's get
Well, that's all I got. We'll go to council comments now.
I don't have anything. I went over it already with, when we were talking about the playground. I was gonna give an update. So I don't have anything.
Miss Ellie?
But it's been so long, I forgot, so I'll just pass.
Charles?
I pass. I'm good.
Leslie?
I'm good.
David?
I hate to take up time, but I do have something.
Go ahead.
Give a copy of that to Parker. Take one, pass it down.
I'll take mine home and read
They
it.
didn't give us one.
I only made 7 copies.
I could share one with somebody.
Well, there should be extra since Yvonne and Benny's not here. This is ordinance number 297 from the ordinance book that has to do with parking in police patrol and so forth in the city of Cumberland. I've drove all through the
Don't
city,
hand me that other copy.
and if you look at
Thank you.
section
Well-
70.40 unauthorized parking, it states it shall be unlawful for any person to park a motorized vehicle upon any sidewalk or in any area designated as a no parking zone, nor shall any person park a motorized vehicle against a yellow curb. And then it has penalties, see section 750. A motorized vehicle parked in a no parking zone as described in section 7040 shall be towed at the owner's expense, no expense to the city. This shall include storage fees of $5 per day, which is to be paid at the time the motorized vehicle is removed from the impoundment lot. In addition, the owner of the motorized vehicle shall be subject to a fine of not less than $25, but not more than $75 for the unauthorized parking of the motorized vehicle. Now, this ordinance was passed some number of years ago. I've sat through several council meetings. One person in particular I remember bringing it up was Eugene Stagnolia when he sat here. Miss Elliott brought it up about 2 months ago because she specifically mentioned a department that was parking on the sidewalk. And we've had a situation in my neighborhood where we have at least 3 cars every day that's parked on the sidewalk, and you can barely get down the street. It happens in New York section. I counted 7 cars parked on the sidewalk coming down Main Street on the way to the council meeting tonight, as well as people parking on the yellow curb. And I feel like this is an ordinance that's in the books. It should be enforced. And, you know, it lays it out, and then to be told that there's a note posted in the police department giving people permission to park on the sidewalks after this ordinance clearly states that you shouldn't be parking on sidewalks, is kind of a disgrace.
I'll let the chief of police answer that.
First of all, this ordinance, I'm not for sure it's legal. We got a lawyer here, let him explain it to you, but my personal opinion, that's not legal. Second opinion, we've probably got 150, 200 cars parked on sidewalks in the middle of the road in areas it's not supposed to be, so we won't do it. Pay a tow bill for every car we tow off. That's $200 some every time we tow one from here to Pennington's. Pennington's is the only regular service that we've got. If you all tell me to do so, I'll write everybody a ticket. In the next 24 hours, I'll tow everybody's car off in Cumberland if that's what you want to do. But I'm sure you're going to get feedback from the public, and I'm not for sure this is legal to do it. And this ordinance, how long ago has this been passed?
94.
The problem is, the city has nowhere is sidewalks, probably half of them are not city-owned. But you get your deed out and read your sidewalk ordinance, probably not where you're at, but in New York section, my mom lives over in there. Down where I live, on Field Street, Power Street, the sidewalk does not belong to the city. The sidewalk belongs to whoever the owner of the house is. The way I read my deed, and also I own, and a lot of people don't know this, my deed down on my street says I own to the middle of the river. So that means somebody is in the middle of the river, I can get made to leave. Same thing on my sidewalk. If it's my sidewalk, I can park there. Somebody else might not want to park there and tell them to leave until it's my private property. What I'm saying, so this is, somebody clarifies this, we need to make sure we know what we're doing before we get into it.
It's just like,
I know with,
What we're doing.
you're talking about streets and rivers, power lines. I went through this, matter of fact, on 5 acres of property, not about parking, I'm talking about right-of-ways.
Right-of-ways.
Once you grant someone a right-of-way, you can't take it back.
Right, and then after, what, 7 years, some way your grandfather and some of this thing?
I mean, like, if there's
A
a
fence.
power line across your property,
Like a
you
fence
can't
line,
take
usually
it
let
in a
somebody
road.
fence it up for 7 years.
If you grant a road through your property,
That's right, so many years.
you can't take it back.
That's right.
If you do, like the river, I'm sure that was a project at one time, even though you own it, it's the river, you can't take it back. But
Well,
if something happens, it was ever to be, let's say a road that nobody lived at the end of that road, you have a chance to buy your,
You're a part of it.
or to get your property back. You probably wouldn't have to buy it, I'm not sure, probably some fees, lawyer fees or something.
But there's people that lives here in the city that there's no place to put other vehicles. What are you gonna do with them? Tell them they can't have a vehicle?
Wayne,
You
too,
get-
there's
you
another
get tax-
issue.
You get insurance tax off of every vehicle in the city of Cumberland, correct? You got a
No,
Cumberland
off of the ones that's
address.
got insurance.
That's about 99% of it anymore, because there's too many ways to check on the computer system, so. City gets a lot more money doing that than you would ever get trying to enforce an ordinance like this.
Well, there's an issue up, and up, like in my neighborhood on New York, like Creech Avenue. I was parking my car on the sidewalk halfway on and off because of the width,
Right.
okay? Got a complaint. So I parked my car on the sidewalk, and I think, Jim, you've driven by, you see how narrow when Miss
Yeah, you can't
Burksville's
get
kids,
through.
you have to stop. And I'm not moving my car back on the sidewalk, so I'm gonna abide by the law, but there's issues there
But you got
too.
issues, that sidewalk might not belong to the city. I mean, you need to check
I'm
your,
going,
Well,
you need to check your.
that we actually had.
I am too.
We actually had that problem when I did construction. I had to deal with this issue with sidewalks. I was allowed to run new water lines or sewer lines right up to the sidewalk, but I could not go under it because it had been deeded to the city as a right-of-way for a sidewalk, and that way I had to stop there and the city had to come and dig up the sidewalk and make the connection to the main line.
But I agree it's a problem, but I don't know how you cure it. I mean,
What's the solution, Mr. Boggs?
How about just giving them a warning and tell them that,
Well,
especially in the city, inside city limits.
I can't, that's not my job to give you a solution. I mean, that's.
You got an ordinance and a law.
That's our
The
job.
sidewalks
You've
in the
got
city
you have
belong
an
to the
ordinance here.
city,
I'm not
running up
sure.
and down Main Street.
I will address
Main Street
about
is a state
it.
highway.
Given to me.
US
Yeah,
160, that's somebody, that's a highway right there. The city don't own nothing out there.
We can't
Oh,
control
we
it.
don't-
Y'all wait
That's
and
true.
let Parker tell us.
What I will say, is that you have an ordinance on the book. And the very fact that you have an ordinance, that is your law. Now, whether it's proper law, it is your law. And Mr. Dixon's right. This is, unless you repeal it or change it, this is your law. And that is the law that is supposed to be abided by, and it's evidently been ignored. Now, the chief says he's not sure that it's legal, and I don't know exactly which part he's talking about. There are parts of this that may not be good law, may not be good law, but it still is your law. You can have law that's not a good law. If his concern is about the towing part, as I read this, you would have some private tower towing. You wouldn't necessarily go up to the city, you don't have to go into the towing business because it says it'd be towed at the owner's expense. So some tow truck can tow it. and it's gonna be, so that's not that the chief's gonna go out. and
The
tell
city
me-
wouldn't get stuck with
No, they
that.
wouldn't get
No,
stuck with
but, what is it specifically in here that you looked at that you felt was a difficult thing for you to have to do, other than the sidewalk? But sidewalk is defined. You defined the sidewalk. You said when you passed this law, or the council did, back there, that a sidewalk is that portion of the street between the curb and the property line intended for use of pedestrians. Now, curb was defined to be the boundary of that portion of the street used for vehicles, whether marked by a curbstone or not. So, that's what you said the curb is. It doesn't have to be marked with a boundary, but, this is your ordinance, and this is on your books, and whether or not you
What about
enforce it or
the
not.
post, what about the post of a sign that says no parking on sidewalks? These people's done this for, I won't say 60 years, maybe longer.
It was
And then all of a sudden, you're gonna start telling everybody they can't do this.
It's been brought up for years.
Well, I know up in New York section,
I've
when
got
I
another
lived up
question about
there.
it
I
too.
mean, there may be
Liberty
problems, there may be problems
Somebody
with
do it
enforcing
because
this law, there may be
you can't park on
problems
sidewalk.
with,
I don't think
getting the
anybody
word
on
out,
our street parks on
but,
the sidewalk.
No.
Park
it's
out-
on your book.
Well, in
and
the
it's
road.
been-
In the roadway.
In the road.
That's
Probably
illegal
illegal
too.
There's a KRS about blocking
Yeah,
the
that's
main
what they're
roadway. I
saying,
mean,
yeah.
so you're gonna get a ticket,
Yeah.
it's gonna cost you $125, $150 for parking in a
Parking in the
roadway,
road.
travel portion of a
Yeah.
roadway, plus it's, whatever he said the sidewalk fine was, $20 if you can enforce it. How you gonna collect $25 or
As
$20?
speaking as an officer, I've only got one question. We got a lot of homes that are landlocked and a lot of homes that are up on banks. They have no access to a driveway. Are we gonna punish them by writing them a ticket every time they park a car partially on the sidewalk?
I'll speak of a street close to where he lives, Bank Street, where's them people gonna park at?
Yeah, those folks have
they
no
live on the-
access and have no ability to create a driveway to their
Jimmy-
house that are up on
Jimmy
the
You
bank.
sold-
can't get
Jimmy
through
Dixon's
that
got one, and
street.
another
You
guy's
can't
probably
get
got a
through
driveway
Wood
up there.
Street when you have 6 or 7 cars.
I
parked there
personally
through there.
made every person on Wood Street move their car off the sidewalk onto the roadway. Then I started getting complaints that you couldn't get a fire truck through the
Yeah, through
roadway.
the roadway.
So
Then we went
you're
back to the
damaging
side, then we went
them,
back to
you're
the
damaging
sidewalk.
them.
So basically, our city has, over the
You're gonna
years,
tell them to move.
Cause you
With
made
the
that man run
just
out
not
there
like
and move his
the
truck.
streets were built
Well, honey, it's
probably old
parked in the
Model
middle
A
of that
Fords.
burn road.
Or
Not
buggies,
as
or buggies or some guy, hey, horse and buggies
So you
drove.
need to pave over the sidewalk.
Did you see where he was parked?
I mean, my only question
You
is,
know
as an
what, he's
officer,
not lying, Parker's got a, I'm not saying we do it, but this, really, the streets are so narrow.
Yeah, they are.
Especially in certain neighborhoods.
Yeah, they are.
But, inside the city limits, I'm not saying let anybody break the law, I probably say this wrong, no matter how I say it. Inside the city limits, parking on the sidewalk, people shouldn't do. I mean, the area through
Drive
town,
town.
I'm not talking about going
Yeah.
up,
Think
What's
about
the
those,
business?
think about those water, the water lines too that's in that street. It's got those little, and they've been breaking those lids
Right.
and damaging the water lines, on the sidewalks. But that could be avoided if you.
oh, I see what you're talking about, the meter covers.
Yeah.
Been damaged, parking, yeah, and somebody could step in that and then they're gonna sue the city.
But now listen,
That's happening.
you cannot block somebody's driveway or their home
That's just
entrance parking a dead burn car on the sidewalk.
That's
Now, I'm
exactly right.
sorry, or
That's
giving
right.
them access. You're getting back and forth now, that's where you low.
I don't think we've ever given
See what I'm
anybody
saying?
access, I think
How
they
about you
just
can't park
occurred
somebody's
over
driveway? I mean,
centuries.
It's really, you can't make somebody be courteous.
yeah.
You can't make somebody be
And
nice.
I'm agreeing 100%, it's a problem, but. I don't
So,
know
and
how to
not
cure it.
blocking
I mean, I really don't.
somebody, yeah.
I've had
You
my
see what I'm
mirror
saying?
knocked
If
off
somebody-
twice right out there.
Right out here parked up on the side, you know what to tell them, they're
That's
gonna
exactly what we make.
Well-
And we got a bunch of teeth out there. I mean, that's no secret,
But
but
as
I don't know
far
what
as
you
back
do.
alleys and stuff.
I don't know what you do in
really-
neighborhoods where there's no
So,
place
so
place
like
to
in the
walk.
section that David lives in, is there not some kind of, something you kind of, are they parking on both sides and you can't even get through there? Is that what
One
it is?
side of the street has an area to park with. One house had a driveway and they took the driveway out, so now
driveway
they
out.
park several cars up and down the street. And I have one neighbor who actually is affiliated with the city, who has to go up to the next street to get to her house.
I've been over there when it's been like that.
It's a problem, I mean, there's no doubt about it, but I don't know what the solution is.
They can't go down Woods while they golf there. Can't get to their street. They go up